Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Microsoft Excel 2016. This is the Module 2 demonstration video. Hope you enjoyed your coffee or your day or two off that you've taken between videos. But we are going to start back exactly where we were before when we left off from the Module 1 video. So I have the exact same workbook with the January worksheet open here on the screen. Now, if you didn't come back to the exact same setup that I have, you're actually fine. Just make sure that you follow along with what I'm doing. Okay. So let's begin under the page layout tab, okay? So the first thing I want to do is talk about setting up your headers and footers, okay? They're a little bit different in Microsoft Excel in that you don't have a lot of wiggle room to put in, fancy things and, quick parts and all those, those different stuff that you can do in Microsoft Word. But it's pretty much just down to page numbers, text, different things like that. So let me show you how to do it. You can do this one of two ways. You can either go under the Insert tab and come over to header footer and take care of it there. Or the way I really would recommend that you do it is from the page layout tab, okay? So what I will say to do is to go right here from page layout to print titles. And again, we're gonna do header and footer. When you click on print titles, you see you have a couple different tabs here, one of which is header footer, okay? Now, header footer allows you to do one or the two, either one or the other. Let's start with a custom header. So I'm gonna click custom header, okay? You'll notice that there are three sections in your header, left, center, and right. Let's get our cursor blinking in the center section, and I'm gonna type my name, and then I'm gonna hit enter. Let me show you a couple of the functions that are laid out for you here. Let's start with this one right there. When I click this, this gives me the number of pages that are included in my particular workbook. You'll notice that there's a formula that lays out for you. It's the ampersand and then the word pages in brackets. If I hit enter, I can put in, for instance, like the date, or I can do, hit enter and do the time. A couple other ones that I think may be of interest to you. I'm going to go over here to the right section just for sake of example. I can click this one, and what this does is this gives me the path and the file. So let me talk about this really quick. As you know, the file name is up here in the title bar, Excel Module 1-2. The path would be, for example, let's say you've saved it on your desktop. Your desktop is your C drive on your computer. So you would see in your path, for example, C:\/ and then maybe like users and then desktop and then the name of the file. So what this does is this tells anybody who prints out the workbook where on the computer to find the file, okay? So it's really actually quite important in some instances to do it. When I hit enter, this one right here gives me just the name of the file. You can see it's a 2-for-1 deal there. If I hit enter again, this gives me the name of the tab. So it'll pull through January and put it in the right section of the header, okay? So you have all sorts of different things here. So if I, example, on the test, say, put your name on the first line and then put the path and the file on the second line, you need to insert the actual formula here, not type it out, okay? That's a very important distinction. Use the formulas in every instance. When you're done laying out exactly how you want your header, click OK. You'll see it looks a little jobbled up here because I did a lot of different types of things. So it wouldn't normally look that crowded because you probably wouldn't put as many things. But the footer is the exact same thing, left, right, center, and it's the exact same options. It's just, as you know, footer appears at the bottom. I'll just sort of draw your attention here. If I click print preview, you'll see this is what it looks like right now. It's up in the header. And again, it's sort of all jammed together, but more or less you understand the concepts of header and footer, okay? So this brings us back to the screen, the main interface here. There are a couple other things I want to show you. Now, let's do this. If we go to File and Print right now and we take a look at this, there's a couple things that are of interest. When I hit over here to the next page, you'll notice that you have all sorts of different stuff here on the second page. Let's say, for example, you wanted this all onto one page, okay? What you can do is go right here to where it says no scaling, and you can change it to fit sheet on one page. And now look what it did. It shrunk it down to where you basically have this situation where everything now fits on one page. It's very different than with no scaling. And then, for instance, if I want to put wide margins, now this starts to spill onto multiple pages, okay? And I'm going to leave them on wide margins because I want you to see here that the first page sort of went all the way down the bottom, and then the columns here broke onto another page here, okay? So it's interesting because if you look at it from this view, you really don't know what the headers are up here at top. So let's go ahead and fix that. I'm going to do two things at this point. I want you to look right here under page layout where it says grid lines and headings. And I want you to click print and print. Okay, turn those both on. Views are both on and prints are both on. When I go to my file tab and do print, you'll notice that the numbers of the rows and the letters of the columns appear. And then even though we have all borders around these cells, these didn't have borders, but now you'll notice there are little lines there, okay? Those are grid lines. So if you want those on, that's awesome. And if you don't, you simply turn them off. So they're either on or they're off, okay? Let me show you something. Let's say that you only want this area of data, so the range from A1 to F11 to print, okay? If you go under page layout to print area and you set the print area, when you go into your file tab and your print, you'll notice that only that area is set to print, okay? This is very helpful for folks that only want to have portions of the worksheet printed out, okay? Now, with the print area, once it's on, it's always on. So you have to clear it before you can go and try to print out the whole thing again. So I had to clear in order to make that happen. Okay, so that's very important. Let's move on a little bit. I want you to come down here to the View tab. Now, if I scroll down a little bit on this sheet, you will notice that as you come down to about rows 25, you really don't know what this like 46 corresponds to because the units is hidden up here on top. But if you want to freeze row 1, what you can do is go to your View tab, go to Freeze Panes, and you can freeze the top row. In doing so, when you now scroll down, that row number 1 is locked into place, and that's really important, okay? Freezing panes is either turned on or it's turned off. So if you don't want row number 1 frozen in place, then you have to unfreeze panes. Now, you can also freeze a number of panes together. So let's say that you want 1 and 2 frozen because you want to know what it is we're looking at, and then you want an example of it. So if you want 1 and 2 frozen, then you click on row 3 because you freeze everything above the line, and then you go View, Freeze Panes, Freeze Panes. In doing so, then 1 and 2 are locked into place. So it's always 1 below where you want the freeze line to be. Okay, and then again, if you want to unfreeze them, it's just View, Freeze Panes, Unfreeze Panes. Looks good, huh? Okay, so let's say in a printing situation, we'll go back to the print here real quick. Let's say that you want this to repeat on the top of every page. So this is an instance where you have maybe hundreds of rows and it's going to spill onto multiple pages. Well, when you do that, you're going to want to make sure that the headings for all of these actually follow on subsequent pages, because if you come here, you don't know what 139.72 means unless you come up in here and say, it's the total. So if you want the first row to print across every sheet, here's how you do it. You go to your page layout tab and you click Print Titles. When you go into Print Titles, what you will do is you will see it says Print Titles here under the Sheet tab. And you find Rows to Repeat at top, and you click this little button here called the Selector. When you do, this sort of narrows down a little bit here, and then take your mouse and left click on row number 1. Okay? You'll notice it says $1:1:$1. Click your selector again. And now let's take a look. We're going to look at our print preview. See, it's across the first one, and now it's across the second one. Okay? So that's how you do it. It's in your print titles, and it's your rows to repeat on top. And you, again, will see that on the homework. That's definitely something that's going to be in there. Okay? All right, so what I want to do here, just to sort of make this a little bit easier, I know we had some fun here with row number 1, but that's sort of unsightly. So let's just do a quick review. Click row 1, come back to your home tab, and I want you to change your alignment, okay? We're going to go to our format cell alignment, and I want you to bring it back here to 0 degrees. Okay, so we're just going to fix that there. That should have just been a little bit of a review for you. Okay, so what I would like to do at this point is do some sorting, filtering, searching, different things like that. Okay, so under your home tab, I'd like you to come over here to where it says find and select, and I'd like you to pull down, and I would like you to go to find. Now, this is helpful in a worksheet situation because this will help you find multiple instances of things. So in the find, if I type binder, and I click find next or find all for that matter, it just finds, the next one in the sequence, or find all. It gives you here, which is sort of interesting, all of the cell references of places that you will find that, okay? So find next will find you the next instance of it, but find all will give you this list and tell you, yeah, there are 15 instances in here where that showed up, okay? Now, another way you can do this, let's say you want binder to be with a yellow fill color and black text, okay? You'll come back here to find and select, and you'll select this time replace. So what we are going to do is we're going to find binder, and we're going to replace it with binder. This should look really familiar because we did this with Microsoft Word. You're going to click options, and then what I want to do is the replace binder. We're going to come under formats, and we're going to choose a format. And then what I would like you to do is we're going to do a fill, and we'll fill it yellow. After you've selected yellow, you can do an OK. And now what we're going to do is just for, we can go one by one, or we can just replace them all. There you go. Every instance where binder was found, it has now had a yellow formatting. So that's a really quick, easy way to do, and I'll click close here. Really quick and easy way to do some of these things. All right, so that's set up for us. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to continue on a little bit, and we're going to talk about sorting, filtering. We're going to do filtering. We're going to do filtering and some conditional formatting. You may notice it's 8 o'clock at night on a Sunday that I'm creating this video, so you'll have to forgive me. My brain may be wandering a little bit. All right, so what we're going to do is, what I want to do first is I want to sort by cost. So we're going to come under our home tab, and we're going to come over here to sort and filter. Now, what I want to have happen is I want to have column F to sort from smallest to largest based off of cost. So to do that, we're going to select column F, and then we're going to come over here to sort, filter, and pull down, and I want to sort from smallest to largest. When I select that, it's going to ask me, do I want to expand the selection or do I want to continue? Let me tell you the differences. If you select expand selection, it'll move everything in this column and then move everything else with it. You want to always use this one because if not, you'll change the cost, but everything else stays stationary, and that screws up your data. You don't want to do that. You want this to sort, but then everything else to go with it. Okay, continue with the current selection means only column F sorts and then everything else stays stationary, and that will screw up your data because then all of a sudden you'll have a different cost related to this particular transaction here, and you don't want that. So we're going to expand the selection and look at what happened. Now it is sorted from smallest to largest. This is sorting ascending. It's like going up a flight of stairs. You may notice too, if we do, central, if we want to do this column here, or maybe if we do representative, anything that has text in it, if you want to do a sort, you can come back here to sort and filter and sort A to Z. This is reverse alphabetical, and that's alphabetical. You know how that works. So if you can do it with text as well too. If I do Z to A, same option, you always click expand the selection. And now click sort. There you go. It's now reverse alphabetical or Z to A. Now, let's say you want to do 2 columns. You want to sort by date and then you want to sort by total, okay? The priority goes to the date sorting, but the secondary level is the amount of money. So you're sorting by 2 columns. There is a easy tendency to sort by this first and then go sort by that. The problem is that you're undoing in the second sort what you did in the first sort. So there's a special way to do this. Anytime on your homework or on your exam you hear me say sort first by this and then by that, I'll give it to you exactly like that. You're doing what's called a custom sort. So repeat, if you see in the homework sort first by order date and then by total, you must use the custom sort function that I'm going to show you here momentarily. You can't do it any other way, okay? So to custom sort, we're going to do first by order date and then by total. So that's found under the Home tab, Sort and Filter, Custom Sort. You'll get the same sort warning, and again, you always expand the selection, so we're going to say sort. And now what we'll do is we're going to what? First sort by the order date. I want it sorted on its values. You'll notice here you can do by cell color, different things like that, but we're going to do values. I want it sorted from oldest to newest. And now we're going to add a level, and I'm going to say sort by total on its values, and I'll leave smallest to largest, okay? So you're sorting first by this and then by that. You'll notice this box here is checked that says my data has headers because row number 1 is considered the header of the actual column. So now click OK. And there you go. It's sorted by date, and then you'll notice that it's sorted by totals, because if you have repeat dates in here, it's going to do the total smallest first, then the largest, okay? So that was what is called a multi-level sort, as in multiple level sort. And again, you do that when you see sort by this, then by that. Okay, let's do filter really quick. Let's say you only want to see transactions that occurred in the East region. You don't want to delete the other transactions, but you want them sorted out, so you want them hidden. What you can do is you can click column B, and then we come Home tab, Sort and Filter, click, and turn on your filter. In doing so, you'll notice this little square with a downward arrow. If you click that, you'll notice that you have sorting functions, or in this case, you can also sort by color, which is kind of cool. But down here at the bottom, you'll see Central, East, and West are available to you. That's because those are the only text that are in there. If you only want to see East, you can unselect both of those, and then leaving just East, clicked OK, and now it's all sorted out. You'll notice that it goes 1, 2, 7. You know how to count, so you know that 3, 4, 5, and 6 are hidden. If you want to get it back, you simply click on the filter, and then you can either check these boxes or you can click Select All, and it comes back. Select All also allows you to clear everything in there if you wanted to do that as well. When I click OK, it's back, and that little square is going to remain there until you come back to Sort and Filter and turn it off. Okay, so that's Sort and Filter. Now, let's talk about conditional formatting, which is a very, very interesting function that I think you'll really like, okay? Let's say what we want to do is we want to take a look at the totals that are available to us, and we want to format with a green background any total that is above the average, okay? So we're looking at averages now. What's interesting about this is that you would have to find out what the average is and then maybe sort and flag all the cells. However, you can use a function called conditional formatting, which is right here to make that happen. And let me show you how that works. I'm going to select column G, and then I'm going to do my Home tab conditional formatting and pull down. And let's say I want to do top-bottom rules, okay? You'll see, we're going to go through a bunch of these here, but top-bottom rules, you'll see in there it says show above the average. It's a built-in function for you. You'll see here like top 10%, below average. There's a lot of different basic statistical functions that you'll notice in there that you could easily use with this. So let's select above average. In doing so, you'll notice right away it goes red because that's how it's set up. But if you want it to be green, for example, or really any other color or any other formatting, you can pull down on the arrow and you can choose like green fill, a red text if you wanted to, or you can go to a custom format buried in here where now you have everything at your disposal. So you can make your fill color to be green, and maybe your font to be white. And then when you click OK, there you go. It's the selected ranges that are above average, and it has a custom format. Boom, there you go. Okay, let's say with cost now, for another example, we want to do a conditional formatting under our highlight cell rules where we want duplicate values flagged. Okay, when you do that, you'll notice anything that is a duplicate of something else in that column now has a red fill color, or again, as you know, you can go in and custom format it any way you want. But what you're doing in this case that we did on column G and then on column F is we are applying what are called conditional formatting rules, okay? And rules, they have to satisfy specific, criteria. Now I want to show you a really, really, really interesting one here. Let's go and select units this time. What I want to do is I want to say that there's one of three possibilities. If the units sold are from 0 to, let's say 10, I want a red flag to show up. 11 to 30, I want a yellow flag to show up. And then anything 31 and above, I want a green flag to show up. So now we're doing specific criteria that goes beyond just an average or just, something that's a duplicate. So let me show you how to do that. That's a special conditional formatting rule. So I'm going to apply that to column E. And I'm going to come here to conditional formatting. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come and I'm going to build a new rule. Okay, I want a new set of criteria on this column. In doing so, I'm going to come down here to the bottom and I want my formatting style. I'm going to pull down and I'm going to do what are called icon sets, because icon sets are pictures. Okay, the next thing I do is I pick my icon style. And when I pull down, I can scroll up or down and I have all of these things that can go in the cells. So let's say I want to do flags now. All right, so we can say, and you'll notice here you have greater than or equal to values, all the different things like that. So you're really sort of set up. You'll see this defaults to %. I hate that it does this, and every time I get a new upgrade to Excel, I keep thinking this is going to switch one day, and unfortunately it doesn't, okay? So what I really would like to do at this point is come over here and change the percents to numbers, okay? And then what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead here and we're going to say, okay, green is anything that is greater than or equal to 31. And yellow is anything that is greater than or equal to 11. The values don't really matter. You just have to decide where your breaking points are. So that'll help you set up your rule. But this is setting up to say green is anything that's 31 or greater. 11 now, or yellow is going to go from 11 to 30 because that's where the breaking point is here. And then anything 10 or below is going to be red. When I click OK, take a look at that. Okay, so 81 green, 29 yellow, because it has the specific rule flagged that way, okay? So I would challenge you to think about what it is in your field of practice that may have this sort of application, and I think conditional formatting could really, really help you. Okay, let's say you make a mistake in doing conditional formatting and you need to make sure that you have something fixed. Okay, so if you need to remove a conditional formatting rule, like you don't want that on there anymore, you just simply come to conditional formatting. You come down here to manage rules, or you can do clear rules, it doesn't matter, but manage rules is just the easiest way. You click on manage rules, and then you'll notice here that in the current selection that is showing up. So you just literally click it and then delete. However, if you pull down here and you say, show me all on this worksheet, all three of those show up and you simply pick the one you want and you delete it. Or if you notice you made a mistake, you can click edit rule and that'll bring the dialog box back up again. So it's really up to you, but essentially what you want to have happen is you want to have one rule per conditional formatting, because here's the thing, there's going to be some of you that'll go to grade your homework and it'll take you 2 or 3 times to get this correct, and I'll open up your conditional formatting manager and I'll see that you have 3 different versions of the same thing. The problem is if you have that, one could override the other and screw it up. So you want to make sure that you only have one correct conditional formatting rule for everything that needs to be in your worksheet, okay? So those are really important things to think about. All right, we are about 5 minutes from being done here, so just sort of hang with me on this. I do want you to remember auto-fitting, okay? Remember, you only want to make sure that the columns are wide enough or tall enough to fit the largest amount of text or numbers. So if you need to auto-fit the worksheet, as you're going to see at the bottom of every single homework and exam that you do, you simply highlight the columns and then that have text in them, and you double click on the line that separates the last column from the next one. So G and H, you double left click, and that will crunch it back in. You'll notice that it was sort of small, but it did definitely do that. Okay. All right, so we're gonna do really quickly just some averages and different things like that. So what I want you to do is scroll. We're gonna make this easy here. Let's first go to View, and let's freeze our top row. Okay, so View, freeze panes, freeze the top row. Okay, I thought that was still frozen. Sorry. What I want you to do with that top row frozen is come down to about rows 45. Okay. And then what I want you to do is I want you to click in E45, Echo 45. I want to total up the number of units. So I want to do a sum function here, okay? So in E45, I want you to go to your Home tab and then find over here in the editing group where it says Auto Sum, okay? Pull down on the arrow and select Sum. In doing so, you'll notice that what I call here the Vegas dancing ants, okay, sort of looks like a Las Vegas marquee. What this here is called a selector, and it's showing you in a built formula exactly what is being selected for this particular formula. Equal sign starts every formula, and when we start doing our activities next week, we'll really harp in on this. But it says equal sign sum, and then in parentheses, it says the range E2 to E44. Because when I scroll up, I take a look here and I see that E2 starts the particular formula and it goes all the way to E44, okay? When I hit enter, it is 2121. That's the total of all of the units, okay? So I just want to show you that that's how you start to build formulas, okay? So that's all available to you at this point. Let's go over to our cost, okay? I want to do the average cost now. So what we'll do is we'll go to F45, we'll come here to Auto Sum, I'll pull down, and I'm going to do the average this time. And you'll notice the formula is a little bit different. It's equal sign because equal sign starts every formula. The word average because average is a built-in function. Next week, we're going to build our own functions to where you won't see the word average or something. You'll just sort of build your own formula. But average is built in because that's a very, very well-known one. And this formula is telling us that to get our average, you need two numbers, the first and the beginning in the series, that is. So this is saying find the average of the range F2 to F44. So essentially, it is every cell that is above it that's not in the title, which is exactly what we'd want to do if we want to get an average of all of our costs. So if you hit enter, average is $20.31. Okay, so let's go over to title now, or to total now. So we're in G45. Same function right here. Let's say that we want to do the maximum of the range, okay? Minimum is the other function that's available to you that will give you the minimum of the range, okay? So let's choose maximum, okay? And what that's going to do is that is going to grab everything above it. I will say this now, and if you're taking notes, I want you to make sure you write this down. Before you hit enter, you need to make sure that what is in the parentheses is the correct range. Sometimes what happens is if you are down a couple cells, it will try to grab everything above it, and it may not be the correct range. So you always need to verify this. We'll do some practice with this in future lessons to make sure that you've got it down, but you always need to make sure you verify. So when you hit enter, there you go. If for some reason that this was not the correct range, you can either go in and change the letter number references, or you can select a different set when that's down there, okay? But you always want to make sure that you have got that correct, okay? So there's that. This actually concludes the Module 2 lecture here for Microsoft Excel. If you need to, I would highly encourage to review both the videos before we meet again for class, because Excel is a little bit more dense. There's more things in here that I think you need to know, and this is going to require a little bit of practice. If you have any questions, you know where to find me. Otherwise, enjoy your homework assignment, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.